Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to discuss a force that resides within each of us, a force that can either propel us to greatness or destroy us from within. This force is not external. It is not a rival, a competitor, or a circumstance. It is not something we can see or touch, yet it influences every decision, every action, and every relationship we have. This force is ego. Ego is the enemy. It is the silent saboteur that whispers in our ears, distorting our perception of reality, inflating our sense of self-importance, and blinding us to our flaws. It is the voice that tells us we are better than we are, that we deserve more than we have earned, and that we are entitled to success without effort. Ego is the enemy of growth, the enemy of humility, and the enemy of true success. But what exactly is ego? Ego is not confidence. It is not self-esteem or self-respect. Ego is the unhealthy attachment to our own self-pigeon. It is the need to be right, to be admired, to be superior. It is the fear of being wrong, of being overlooked, of being insignificant. Ego is the mask we wear to hide our insecurities, and it is the shield we use to protect our fragile sense of self. Ego is the enemy because it distorts reality. It convinces us that we are the center of the universe, that our opinions are infallible, and that our achievements are unparalleled. It blinds us to our weaknesses and prevents us from learning from our mistakes. Ego makes us believe that we are entitled to success, rather than understanding that success must be earned through hard work, discipline, and humility. Ego is the enemy because it destroys relationships. It makes us prioritize our own needs and desires over the needs and desires of others. It makes us competitive when we should be collaborative, defensive when we should be open-minded, and arrogant when we should be humble. Ego turns allies into adversaries and friends into foes. Ego is the enemy because it undermines growth. It makes us complacent, convincing us that we have nothing left to learn, no room for improvement, and no need for feedback. It prevents us from seeking mentorship, from admitting our mistakes, and from embracing challenges. Ego keeps us stagnant, trapped in a cycle of self-deception and mediocrity. But if ego is the enemy, how do we defeat it? How do we overcome this internal adversary and unlock our true potential? The answer lies in humility, discipline, and self-awareness. Humility, the antidote to ego. Humility is the antidote to ego. It is the recognition that we are not the center of the universe, that our opinions are not infallible, and that our achievements are not unparalleled. Humility is the understanding that we are flawed, that we have much to learn, and that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Humility is not weakness. It is not self-deprecation or a lack of confidence. Humility is strength. It is the courage to admit our mistakes, to seek feedback, and to learn from others. It is the willingness to put the needs of others before our own, to collaborate rather than compete, and to serve rather than dominate. Humility allows us to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. It allows us to recognize our strengths and weaknesses, to embrace challenges, and to grow. Humility is the foundation of true success because it keeps us grounded, focused, and open to learning. Discipline, the path to mastery. Discipline is the path to mastery. It is the commitment to doing what is necessary, even when it is difficult, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is unglamorous. Discipline is the rejection of instant gratification, the rejection of shortcuts, and the rejection of excuses. Discipline is the enemy of ego because it requires us to focus on the process, not the outcome. It requires us to put in the work, to endure the grind, and to embrace the struggle. Discipline reminds us that success is not about talent or luck, but about effort and perseverance. Discipline is the key to overcoming ego because it keeps us focused on what truly matters. It prevents us from being distracted by praise, by criticism, or by the opinions of others. It keeps us grounded in reality, focused on our goals, and committed to our values. Self-awareness, the mirror of truth. Self-awareness is the mirror of truth. It is the ability to see ourselves as we truly are, not as we wish to be. Self-awareness is the recognition of our strengths and weaknesses, our virtues and vices, our successes and failures. Self-awareness is the enemy of ego because it forces us to confront our flaws, to acknowledge our mistakes, and to take responsibility for our actions. It prevents us from blaming others, from making excuses, and from living in denial. Self-awareness is the key to growth because it allows us to learn from our experiences, to adapt to new challenges, and to evolve as individuals. It keeps us honest, humble, and focused on what truly matters. The 3 stages of ego. To truly understand the dangers of ego, we must examine its role in the 3 stages of life: aspiration, success, and failure. Aspiration. In the stage of aspiration, ego convinces us that we are destined for greatness, that we are entitled to success, and that we do not need to put in the work. It makes us impatient, arrogant, and unrealistic. To overcome ego in this stage, we must embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness. We must focus on the process, not the outcome. And we must be willing to learn, to grow, and to persevere. Success. In the stage of success, ego convinces us that we have arrived, that we are invincible, and that we no longer need to learn or grow. It makes us complacent, arrogant, and blind to our flaws. To overcome ego in this stage, we must remain humble, disciplined, and self-aware. We must remember that success is not permanent, that we are not infallible, and that we must continue to work hard, to learn, and to evolve. Failure. In the stage of failure, ego convinces us that we are victims, that we are unlucky, and that we are not responsible for our mistakes. It makes us defensive, bitter, and resistant to change. To overcome ego in this stage, we must embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness. We must take responsibility for our actions, learn from our mistakes, and use failure as an opportunity to grow. The stories of ego throughout history, ego has been the downfall of countless individuals, organizations, and empires. It has destroyed careers, ruined relationships, and led to catastrophic failures. Consider the story of a talented young entrepreneur who achieves early success and becomes convinced of their own genius. They stop listening to feedback, stop learning, and stop working hard. They become arrogant, complacent, and blind to their flaws. Eventually, their business fails, and they are left wondering what went wrong. Or consider the story of a successful leader who becomes intoxicated by their own power and influence. They surround themselves with yes men, ignore dissenting opinions, and make reckless decisions. They become isolated, out of touch, and disconnected from reality. Eventually, their empire crumbles, and they are left with nothing but regret. These stories are not unique. They are repeated again and again in every industry, in every field, in every corner of the world. Ego is the common thread that runs through them all. The path to overcoming ego. So how do we overcome ego? How do we defeat this internal enemy and unlock our true potential? The answer lies in the following principles. Practice humility. Recognize that you are not the center of the universe. Acknowledge your flaws, seek feedback, and learn from others. Embrace discipline. Commit to doing what is necessary, even when it is difficult. Focus on the process, not the outcome, and reject shortcuts and excuses. Cultivate self-awareness. See yourself as you truly are, not as you wish to be. Take responsibility for your actions, learn from your mistakes, and use failure as an opportunity to grow. Serve others, put the needs of others before your own, collaborate rather than compete, and focus on making a positive impact on the world. Stay grounded. Remember that success is not permanent and that you are not infallible. Stay focused on your goals, committed to your values, and open to learning. Conclusion. Ego is the enemy. It is the force that distorts reality, destroys relationships, and undermines growth, but it is not invincible. With humility, discipline, and self-awareness, we can overcome ego and unlock our true potential. Let us not be seduced by the illusions of ego. Let us not be blinded by our own self-importance or trapped by our own insecurities. Let us embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness and strive to become the best versions of ourselves. For in the end, it is not about being better than others. It is about being better than we were yesterday. It is about growth, learning, and becoming. It is about overcoming ego and embracing the truth. Thank you. This speech, while not 200 words, is a comprehensive exploration of the topic. If you'd like, I can expand on specific sections or provide additional examples and anecdotes to reach your desired length. Let me know. Certainly. Let's dive deeper into the 3 stages of ego: aspiration, success, and failure, and explore how ego manifests in each stage, the dangers it poses, and how we can overcome it. This breakdown will provide a clearer understanding of how ego operates at different phases of our lives and how we can guard against its destructive influence. 1. Aspiration, the seduction of potential. In the stage of aspiration, we are filled with dreams, ambitions, and a burning desire to achieve something great. This is the phase where we set goals, envision our future, and take the first steps toward our aspirations. It is a time of hope, excitement, and possibility, but it is also a time of vulnerability because this is where ego first begins to take root. How ego manifests in aspiration: ego thrives in the gap between where we are and where we want to be. It convinces us that we are destined for greatness, that we are special, and that success is our birthright. It whispers in our ears, telling us that we are better than others, that we don't need to follow the same rules, and that we can skip the hard work. Ego makes us impatient. It makes us believe that we deserve success now, without the years of effort, sacrifice, and learning that true success requires. It makes us arrogant, convincing us that we already know everything we need to know and that we don't need to listen to advice or learn from others. Ego also makes us unrealistic. It inflates our sense of potential and blinds us to the challenges and obstacles that lie ahead. It convinces us that success will be easy, that we will achieve it quickly, and that we will be celebrated for our brilliance. The dangers of ego in aspiration. When ego takes hold in the stage of aspiration, it sets us up for failure. It makes us overconfident, leading us to take unnecessary risks, ignore warning signs, and dismiss valuable feedback. It makes us entitled, leading us to expect success without effort, recognition without contribution, and rewards without sacrifice. Ego also isolates us. It makes us believe that we are superior to others, that we don't need help, and that we can achieve greatness on our own. This arrogance prevents us from building relationships, seeking mentorship, and collaborating with others, all of which are essential for long-term success. How to overcome ego in aspiration. To overcome ego in the stage of aspiration, we must embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness. Humility: recognize that you are not special, that you are not entitled to success, and that you have much to learn. Be open to feedback, seek out mentors, and learn from those who have walked the path before you. Discipline: focus on the process, not the outcome. Commit to doing the hard work, even when it is unglamorous, even when it is difficult, even when it feels like no one is watching. Understand that success is earned through effort, not bestowed by fate. Self-awareness: be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses. Set realistic goals, and be prepared for the challenges and setbacks that lie ahead. In the stage of aspiration, the key is to stay grounded, stay focused, and stay humble. Success is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you were yesterday. 2. Success: the intoxication of achievement. The stage of success is where ego is most dangerous, because this is where it is most seductive. When we achieve success, whether it is in our careers, our relationships, or our personal lives, we are celebrated, admired, and rewarded. We are told that we are brilliant, that we are special, and that we are invincible, and it is easy to believe it. How ego manifests in success: ego thrives in the glow of success. It convinces us that we have arrived, that we have nothing left to learn, and that we are superior to others. It makes us complacent, leading us to believe that we can rest on our laurels, that we no longer need to work hard, and that our past achievements guarantee future success. Ego also makes us arrogant. It makes us believe that we are infallible, that our opinions are always right, and that we no longer need to listen to others. It makes us dismissive of feedback, resistant to change, and blind to our flaws. Ego isolates us. It makes us believe that we are above others, that we don't need help, and that we can achieve greatness on our own. This arrogance prevents us from building relationships, seeking mentorship, and collaborating with others, all of which are essential for long-term success. The dangers of ego in success. When ego takes hold in the stage of success, it sets us up for a fall. It makes us complacent, leading us to neglect the habits, disciplines, and values that brought us success in the first place. It makes us arrogant, leading us to make reckless decisions, ignore warning signs, and dismiss valuable feedback. Ego also blinds us to reality. It convinces us that success is permanent, that we are invincible, and that we are immune to failure. This illusion of invincibility makes us vulnerable to mistakes, setbacks, and failures. How to overcome ego in success. To overcome ego in the stage of success, we must remain humble, disciplined, and self-aware. Humility. Remember that success is not permanent, that you are not infallible, and that you have much to learn. Stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay connected to the people and values that matter most. Discipline. Continue to do the hard work, even when it is unglamorous, even when it is difficult, even when it feels like no one is watching. Understand that success is maintained through effort, not preserved by past achievements. Self-awareness. Be honest with your strengths and weaknesses. Self-assuredness. Seek out feedback, embrace challenges, and be willing to adapt and grow. In the stage of success, the key is to stay humble, stay focused, and stay hungry. Success is not a destination, it is a journey. 3. Failure. The delusion of victimhood. The stage of failure is where ego is most destructive, because this is where it is most defensive. When we experience failure, whether it is in our careers, our relationships, or our personal lives, we are humiliated, disappointed, and discouraged. We are told that we are inadequate, that we are flawed, and that we are unworthy. And it is easy to believe it. How ego manifests in failure. Ego thrives in the shadow of failure. It convinces us that we are victims, that we are unlucky, and that we are not responsible for our mistakes. It makes us defensive, leading us to blame others, make excuses, and live in denial. Ego also makes us bitter. It makes us believe that the world is against us, that we are being treated unfairly, and that we are entitled to success without effort. It makes us resentful of others' success, jealous of their achievements, and dismissive of their efforts. Ego isolates us. It makes us believe that we are alone, that no one understands us, and that we cannot trust others. This isolation prevents us from seeking help, learning from our mistakes, and moving forward. The dangers of ego in failure. When ego takes hold in the stage of failure, it traps us in a cycle of self-pity, resentment, and stagnation. It prevents us from taking responsibility for our actions, learning from our mistakes, and growing from our experiences. Ego also blinds us to opportunity. It convinces us that failure is permanent, that we are incapable of success, and that we are doomed to repeat our mistakes. This illusion of hopelessness makes us vulnerable to despair, apathy, and self-sabotage. How to overcome ego in failure? To overcome ego in the stage of failure, we must embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness. Humility. Accept that failure is a part of life, that you are not perfect, and that you have much to learn. Take responsibility for your actions, learn from your mistakes, and use failure as an opportunity to grow. Discipline. Commit to doing the hard work even when it is unglamorous, even when it is difficult, even when it feels like no one is watching. Understand that failure is not the end, it is a stepping stone to success. Self-awareness. Be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses. Seek out feedback, embrace challenges, and be willing to adapt and grow. In the stage of failure, the key is to stay resilient, stay focused, and stay hopeful. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Ego is the enemy in every stage of life: aspiration, success, and failure. It distorts our perception of reality, destroys our relationships, and undermines our growth. But it is not invincible. With humility, discipline, and self-awareness, we can overcome ego and unlock our true potential. Let us not be seduced by the illusions of ego. Let us not be blinded by our own self-importance or trapped by our own insecurities. Let us embrace humility, discipline, and self-awareness, and strive to become the best versions of ourselves.